Ladies, I just want you to know that treating men transactionally will not change how men treat you. It will only reveal their extremely transactional nature to you as a woman who has been taught to give your value away for free. This will not only radicalize you, but it's also an excellent vetting strategy and an excellent way to stop wasting your time with men who plan to be transactional with you. You just don't know it because you're not expecting the transaction back from them. Because you, as a woman, have been taught to accept the bare minimum and the idea of love and romance in exchange for cold, hard labor. That is what men expect from you every time, I promise. Whether it's in the form of physical labor, emotional labor, sexual labor, mental labor. If you were to start withholding these things from men who don't do them back, you would be surprised at how many men never expect to be called on for their end of the bargain. Meanwhile, they expect to operate extremely transactionally with you, especially the longer that you stay in a relationship with them. So a lot of men, the reason that they love bomb you in the beginning of these relationships is so that they can take their foot all the way off the gas and at some point coast on just the fact that they love bombed you a lot in the very beginning of your relationship. As time goes on, they're going to stop getting you those flowers. They're going to stop being nice and kind and sweet, picking up chocolate for you from the store, buying you jewelry, all these things, but they will still expect you to hold up your end of the bargain. They'll expect you to do most of the house cleaning. They'll expect you to birth and raise their children. They'll expect you to continue doing emotional labor while they check out. They'll expect you to do most of the parenting, most of the life planning, most of the budgeting, most of the cooking, most of the cleaning, all that just because they go to work, just because they quote unquote provide. But if you weren't there, they wouldn't be able to afford that stuff. So you need to get transactional. So don't get me wrong, this is not really all about money. But if a man expects to not have to lift a finger around the house, if he expects you to have schmecks with him and he doesn't care about your pleasure, doesn't care about giving you an O, meanwhile he expects one every time. If he expects to always be able to dump his emotions out on you, but whenever you need a shoulder to cry on, he's like, I don't know what you want me to say, I don't know what you want me to do. You need to start at least charging appropriately for those services. You need to have a plan in place where you can bill this man or something. Because if you start thinking of it in those terms, you'll realize that the value that you bring to a man's life is far more than whatever they are quote unquote compensating you with. At this point, most men legitimately think they're the prize just because they have a job. But they don't know how to engage with women emotionally. They don't know how to cook and clean. Even when they do, they still don't want to do it. They eventually want to slide all that responsibility off onto you. They want to get you pregnant with their children. They use weaponized incompetence to get out of things. And I'm telling you, ladies, until you start getting transactional with it and leaving whenever you've put in a disproportionate amount of work, you have not been compensated for and the favor has not been returned. If you just start leaving at the first sign of that, you might actually be able to vet your way to a good man. They really are few and far in between. So the sooner you realize this, the better off you will be. And a lot of good men, mind you, will be that way for the first 3 months because once again, they're transaction bombing you, right? Don't even think of it as love bombing. Think of it as transaction bombing. And they want to be able to point to those times that they got you some sad little flowers from Trader Joe's or that they got you a little box of chocolates from the gas station when you are 7-10 years into raising their kids, supporting their career, running the household, being a full-time house and life manager for him, the kids, and then you ask for a little bit of appreciation, you ask for a small transaction in return, and your card gets declined on the basis of, well, I used to buy you flowers. I don't have time for all this fruity romantic shit. When women say, fine, you don't have to do that, just do your part around the house, they don't want to do that either. So at the end of the day, they want to leave you high and dry. Not only do they want to be transactional, they don't want to hold up their end of the bargain. And oftentimes when it's time to hold up their end of the bargain, they just dip out. when you get cancer, when you get some serious diagnosis. The moment you no longer function well as a wife appliance, men want to kick you out of the house and replace you with a different wife appliance, because that's how transactional they are. Please don't miss out on that, because you're going to spend a lot of your time investing in men who have no plan, ability, or intention of ever paying you back for all the hard work that you put into their quote unquote potential. You need to realize your own potential. And the only way that you're going to be able to do that is by letting go of the non-transactional mindset that the patriarchy wants you to have, because that is how the patriarchy oppresses us women. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Stay safe out there, ladies. I love you so much. Godspeed.